Welcome in, everyone, to the Lucky Bets podcast. We got Dylan Corbett back in with us today. Dylan, we got 1 week left, and then we got the playoffs. So we're getting right down to the wire of, where's shit going to land. You got the AFC, who's completely wide open. You got the Patriots, who, aren't even in the top four, but could be the number one seed at the end of this week. Yeah. A lot of crazy scenarios got to happen, but it's a possibility. So, We'll go ahead and throw up the AFC playoff picture real quick, just over our faces. You got the Titans. They moved up to number one.
Yeah.
All they need to do to clinch number one now is get a win. You got the Chiefs sitting at 11-5. They lost last week. They need a win. Tennessee lost. Tennessee tie. Either one would put them into the one spot. Bengals at 10-6. They need a win, a Tennessee loss, Kansas City loss, New England loss, or tie. The only one in the top four that cannot make the number one seed actually is the Bills. So, they played pretty good all season, but they do have the Patriots right under them, sitting at 5 at 10-6, who can get into the number one spot with a win, Buffalo loss, or tie, Tennessee loss, Kansas City loss. So again, a lot needs to happen, but
sure.
They got a shot. They got a shot. Then you got the Colts and the Chargers. Neither one of those teams have their ticket punched yet to the playoffs. So looking at this AFC, how do we think things are going to shake out? Who's going to end up where, and what are we going to look like?
It's interesting because you said it is pretty much wide open, but you still find the usual suspects kind of tucked in there. Bills, they had to fight with the Patriots, right? I think that is probably, if I had to pick, kind of just take the seedings away from it. I know they are important, but if you just take away the seedings, I'm going Chiefs, Bills as the top two teams in the AFC. Now, the Titans are going to get Derrick Henry back, but we've seen this show before. Last 3 years, made a little bit of noise in the playoffs. We know what they're going to do to shock teams, right? And that's just going to be run the ball, Ryan Tannehill, game manage. Who can't you do that against? The Chiefs. I don't care if the game's in Nashville. Mahomes, if he's cooking on all cylinders with his weapons and you force Tannehill to have to throw you into the game in a 30-30 shootout, I know Henry's going to get you like 6 yards a carry, but that's going to take away too much time. Tannehill has looked disastrous this year. Now, a lot of that has been with Derrick Henry out, right? Turnovers way up for Tannehill. He can't game manage. They're forcing him to throw. You mentioned the Colts. I think this is going to go rather chalk. I think it's going to be, say the top seeds win in the divisional round. I think you could see the Bills take out Tennessee and move on to face the Chiefs in Kansas City. Now, they already beat Kansas City there during the regular season. Very hard to beat the same team twice, and even harder when you got to go to Kansas City to do it. But that was a rematch, potentially, could be a rematch of what we saw in the AFC title last year. Keep an eye out for the Colts. If they take out the Bengals, who are now getting COVID at the wrong time, Bengals a great team. I'm rooting for them, but first time here in a while with, a rookie and then a second-year quarterback. But Colts are a team that have been here a couple of years now. They've got Carson Wentz, who I would argue should be comeback player of the year because he lowered down the turnover so much. I could see the Colts going on a run that takes them to the AFC title game, but then they run into the Chiefs. I don't know. A lot of crazy things can happen, but I'm not buying into the Titans just yet.
I'm pretty sold on the Titans. The past couple of weeks, I like how their offense looks. You throw Derrick Henry back in there, it's going to look pretty decent. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago on my show, but I think that AFC Championship, it's going to be the Titans and the Chiefs, and I could see the Chiefs dropping to the Titans, and the Titans, getting back to a Super Bowl. First time, since
Dyson George, right?
Yeah, or, the Dyson 1 yard away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. Against the Rams,
right? That'll be interesting for the AFC. NFC, it's really not as interesting. You got the Packers who already have the first round bye locked up. You got the Rams and the Bucks, both of which need to lose if the Cowboys want to gain any ground. And then the Rams still in a fight for their division itself. They got to go in, they got to win, or if they lose, they need Arizona to lose as well. So Arizona could pop up into that top four. They need a win. Rams loss. Then you got the Niners and the Eagles. The Niners actually in the 6th spot don't have their wild card spot locked up like the Eagles do.
Classic. Yeah.
But they can get in with a win. That's all they need. But do you trust Jimmy G? Or not even Jimmy G? Is it going to be Trey Lance this week? I mean, do you trust Trey Lance to not really play all year and then hey kid, you got to get us into the playoffs? It'll be interesting.
You got
to
beat the Rams to do it, right?
Right. Yeah. And then, it makes it interesting with the Saints sitting right outside. They just need to win and then San Francisco to drop to the Rams, which seems like a likely scenario. But do the Falcons play spoiler this week?
God, I hope. I don't think they do. Falcons beat the Saints. I was kind of talking about it too. Like the Falcons and Broncos had similar years, right? Where we came in and we're both like, good God. We look at each of our teams. We're like, this team stinks. What, I was expecting like 4 wins, 3 wins. And then lo and behold, you weren't really like, God, I mean, I guess you had an outside chance for the playoffs because this extra week and this extra team, right? But it's like, we knew our teams weren't really anything throughout the course of the year, but we had some surprising wins and some bad losses. I don't think this is going to be one of those surprising wins. I hate the Saints. And you mentioned it, the NFC it's so top heavy. I don't think the Packers, Bucks are scared of anyone. Nick Sirianni and the Eagles, please. Even the Saints. I mean, the defense plays well, and anything can happen in the playoffs. But I truly think it's going to be, we could potentially see 2 rematches in the title games. It's going to run through. This could potentially be the 3rd straight conference title game that Rodgers plays in. Lost at San Francisco that year. They went on to lose to the Chiefs, obviously fell to the Buccaneers last year. And I don't see why the Buccaneers can't get there. I'm not scared of the Rams. Ever since OBJ went there, Matt Stafford's MVP stock evaporated. He's thrown more pick sixes than than Rodgers has thrown interceptions this year. So I mean, Stafford, he's having Robert Woods getting lost for the year certainly hurt that offense, and now they're switching things up, and I don't think they look the same. I think Buccaneers Packers might be destined for that title game, and then can Rodgers get it done and get back to a Super Bowl? He's probably gonna. We'll talk MVP here, but he looks like the odds-on favorite to repeat.
Do you see Tampa having problems with losing? I don't know if they'll have Fournette back. Mike Evans is kind of questionable. They don't have Chris Godwin.
No, that's a great question.
Do you just believe in Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski? Do we believe in that?
I wanted them to. So I'm one of the last 3 in a survivor pool going into the final week, and I thought for sure, like one of the people had the Bucks last week. I thought for sure, and then lo and behold, Brady does it with AB walks off the field mid play, and he still is Brady. The injury concerns are serious, but I just like, it's same thing with kind of Mahomes is like, even when everyone's doubting them after week 4 or whatever, it's like, it's hard to imagine, crunch time not to believe in one of these guys like Mahomes and then damn, especially Brady. But yeah, that could be, I don't know if that means the Rams take them out, but that could be where the Packers definitely take them out in Lambeau if that's how it comes to be.
I see that NFC Championship being again the Packers. They're just really, the Packers are just a weird team. They're not like fantastic. They don't blow you off the charts, but they go out and they win.
They get it
done. Yeah. So I see the Packers and the Rams. I mean, the Rams, they probably are going to have Cam Akers, so we'll see what kind of impact he has. And then that offense, Cooper Kupp, just absolutely phenomenal with Matt Stafford. So I think it's the year that the Packers finally move past the hump of the NFC Championship and get in. But I said I'm pretty high on Tennessee, and I think Tennessee is gonna win the Super Bowl this year.
That'd be something. I want to see some new blood in there.
Yeah.
With the Rams too, they got to take care of business against the 49ers. I mean, that could certainly, the 2 seed right now helps, but keep an eye on what the hell is going on in the world right now too, is where you might move the Super Bowl because things are clamping down in LA. Minneapolis just reinstated mask mandates. I actually just got clipped over the holidays. Finally just got over it. But shit, like, first of all, the Rams don't have any home field advantage. Everyone in LA is from somewhere else. So like if they face a team with a little bit more of a background, right? One of these legendary teams, that's going to fill up the majority of that stadium. So I don't know if they hold on to the 2 seed, that's a dominant team. I mean, obviously, the Rams, I want to see them succeed too, but it's interesting. I don't know. That's what I love about the NFL playoffs is anything could happen.
Possible 2 years in a row that the team in the Super Bowl will be in their home stadium.
Isn't that crazy? And hey,
uh,
we shouldn't count out the Chargers either. I guess they have an opportunity.
Yeah. All right. So with all of that said, we got Super Bowl odds. These are just constantly changing, but the top 5 that I saw, you got the Chiefs, Packers, Bucks, Rams, and then Titans. Again, I'm a guy that I would not mind going out and placing, some sort of bet on the Titans, see what happens. Yeah. But with the Chiefs and the Packers both kind of sitting as the top of the heap right there, with the Bucks sitting there as well. What do you think a good bet would be to bet on somebody going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I never like going chalk, but so that's why I think your Titans bet certainly, I mean, it's going to have to go through them, barring if they get past Houston, right, which they should. Yeah, so I think think about the Bucks last year. They were super public at the beginning of the year because as soon as Brady went there, everyone's like, "Oh, get Brady Super Bowl," and then it ended up happening. But they were, kind of a low seed, the NFC. You could have got them for decent money if you didn't have a Bucks preseason, midseason ticket to grab them. So I think you're right to be looking for value right now. The Packers, favored right now at 375. And yeah, I don't know. I like taking a flyer there again if you like the Bills. I don't necessarily like plus 800 because they do have a tough road being the 4 seed. If there's an upset on that first round, they're going to have to face Kansas City in that second round. Hell, they might not even get past the Patriots. I mean, I'm not going to walk over the Patriots, even though it might be in Buffalo. Again, the Titans probably look the most appetizing to me at 11-1 because they do have home field advantage. They're getting Henry back, and they've been here now 3 straight years. Like, Vrabel's a good coach.
Yeah. And, Vrabel as a player was pretty experienced in the playoffs playing for the Patriots. So
of course,
he's a guy that he knows how to get the job done, and we just got to see that now as a coach. So I think this will be a good year to do it.
Vrabel Belichick meeting up I think that would potentially have to be, maybe it could work out in the title game, but that would be one hell of a playoff matchup.
That'd be fun to watch. All right, so let's move on to some player awards. The main award races going on. So let's start with the big one, MVP. Got Aaron Rodgers, it looks like, as the favorite, followed by guys like Jonathan Taylor, Tom Brady, and hell, let's throw Cooper Kupp in there. He's having a historic season himself. Looking at Rodgers, I think the main reason you can look at him and be like, this guy's the top candidate for the MVP. Only 4 interceptions. His team's sitting at 13-3. I mean, he doesn't have the most passing yards by far. I mean, there's
he missed a game too.
Yeah, and there's 3 or 4 guys above him. So, only 30 some odd touchdown passes. So I hate the cop out of a quarterback winning MVP just because, whatever. The guy that I think should win MVP, Jonathan Taylor, sitting with however many yards. This is outdated a bit, but I think 18 rushing touchdowns. Like,
I think he even hit 20 recently. Yeah, like he's been a monster.
And I really wish Derrick Henry wouldn't have gotten hurt because what a race. Like, the MVP race should be Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, if Derrick Henry doesn't get hurt. Those two sprinting towards the end of the year, that would have been a really fun race to watch.
Certainly. Yeah. I mean, Derrick Henry was running away with the rushing title. I mean, it was crazy. He still has like 900 yards and he hasn't played in almost like 3 months. Again, with Rodgers, so what I'm seeing is Rodgers minus 500. That could change anywhere you're seeing. So basically like odds on favorite to get this done. And who knows, he might not even play this week, right? I take a flyer on Brady right now, plus 550. Like, I think Brady's put up the numbers. Look, he's doing this at an unprecedented age. Like, he's clearly the MVP of the Bucks, who are super banged up. Like I could totally I see this more of a coin flip between these two as opposed to, minus 500 plus 500. Hell, I even saw, I think 2 weeks ago on one of my books, which isn't exactly official odds, because these guys can manipulate it. I saw Rodgers at 20-1. I was like, what? I was like, there's no way he shot up that far, but who knows? Yeah. Jonathan Taylor right behind him, Cooper Kupp, the 5 guys that are kind of like, you could make an argument for: Rodgers, Brady, JT. How about Joe Burrow sneaking up there? I mean, good for him. What he's been doing the last couple of weeks, and then Cooper Kupp. But I truly think, because as you said, it's the quarterback award. It's the most valuable quarterback. And it's going to be between Rodgers and Brady. And I give the edge to Brady just because he's got the yardage. He leads the NFL in those yards, racking up touchdowns, doing it with a banged up offense. And look, it's not, regardless of what Rodgers is as a person, he didn't miss a game because he's unvaccinated. And that isn't very valuable to your team. Right. Like that's just the point there.
Well, and let's keep in mind these awards, they don't go out until after the playoffs pretty much are over, right?
I think so. I always forget because the NBA is
there's a chance, you kind of said something about Joe Burrow. What if the Bengals go into the playoffs and make some sort of crazy run? Burrow throws for 300-400, maybe even 500 yards like the last couple games.
Okay.
And takes them to the AFC Championship or something like that. Who's to say he couldn't actually win it? So, or, JT carry the Colts with 200 yards a game in the playoffs there, so you never know. That's what kind of makes it fun. But, you got Rodgers more than likely going to be the guy. Well, maybe he's the Broncos quarterback next year, and maybe just kind of speak that into existence.
I'm so sick of this Rodgers timeline. Yeah, he's going to leave. Adam Schefter and Mark Schlereth reported during the draft last year, Rodgers to Denver, done deal. Hey, Mark, when's that supposed to cross across Roger Goodell's desk? But yeah, now it's like, Rodgers, he might. It's a beautiful mystery. He might come back to Green Bay. Miss me with that. I mean, like, just tell me where the hell you're going so we can get excited or not.
Right. All right. Let's move on to pretty more competitive defensive player of the year conversation, because there's a lot of guys that you can make an argument for. I think front runner, probably TJ Watt, sitting at 21.5 sacks. What is he? Full sack away from breaking Michael Strahan's record. Is that where we're sitting?
Yep.
So got to imagine he's going to get that done. They play the Ravens this week. So I'm not super impressed with the Ravens offensive line. Watt could get, maybe 2, 3, 4 sacks this week.
My only thing is if it's Huntley or Jackson, mobile quarterback might be a little bit tougher to get him down to the backfield, but yeah.
TJ Watt's a monster. Then you got Micah Parsons. How crazy is it? We have a rookie kind of like actually in the conversation of defensive player of the year. He's been playing absolutely great. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 13, 15 sacks, something like that. Forced fumbles, could possibly get up close to 100 tackles this year. So he's not putting up any like flashy, holy shit, look at this guy numbers, but he's going out there and just every week consistent. You got a game plan around Micah Parsons. And then another guy on his team right now, Travion Diggs, 11 interceptions. I mean, it's not often that a DB wins any sort of award like this, but how are you going to ignore that domination in the secondary? I mean, that's what it is. It's domination. 11 interceptions. Insane.
It's crazy. And we don't see many interceptions anymore because quarterbacks have been more accurate. It's more about not taking chances, making sure you put it pinpoint accuracy, getting those yards, don't turn the ball over. My only thing with Diggs is, it's been great interceptions, but the reason is because they're throwing at him. Like they see there's a weakness there, and he's a ball hawk and he's showing it. Hey, I'll make you pay. But, and that's the age old argument of analytics versus, you take a look at a quarterback. Oh, he's winning. He's great, but his yards per attempt are low. He's actually not that good. Like Tua, people have such a tough time analyzing Tua because he wins, but he does it in such an amateur way, such an average way where people are like, well, wait a second. What if you actually put a better quarterback there? How good would the Dolphins be? Kind of similar to Diggs. This dude got burned this past week, maybe 2 weeks ago, on a play I saw where it was just he just bid on a double move because he's going for an interception. And I think, yeah, it was AJ Green beat him down the field by freaking, 5-10 yards. Micah Parsons, I mean, Diggs is solid, right? You want a guy there who's going to create turnovers. Parsons is the guy that people are avoiding on the field. Like, they're trying to get away from him. Great story. He's a lock for defensive rookie of the year, but I think it's TJ Watt's award to lose for overall defensive player of the year.
For sure. If he doesn't win it, I mean, you also have Aaron Donald, the defending two-time defensive player of the year, sitting in there somewhere. But
that's probably the three right there: is Parsons, Donald, and Watt.
So I mean, it'd almost be like Aaron Donald's last 2 seasons, and he doesn't get the award.
Yeah.
Like,
bingo.
What the hell are you doing?
And look at that Steelers team. It's just like, I mean, God, Mike Tomlin's got to be one of the best coaches ever for what he just doesn't lose. He doesn't have a losing season, even though he's got a corpse back there in Big Ben.
All right. And let's move on to the last one, offensive rookie of the year, because you can make an argument for at least 4 or 5 guys, at least. Yep. The favorite is Mac Jones. Don't know why, because they're winning, whatever. It's not because of him. The guy that I really like, the 2 that I really like, Jamar Chase, Najee Harris. Both of those guys, if you're looking at just an offensive player and the impact that they've made on the team, the things they've done for the team, Jamar Chase, fucking Christ, you can throw 1,000,000 50-yard balls to him and he'll catch 3/4 of them. So he's just an animal. And Najee sitting here, 1,000-yard rusher as a rookie, super involved in the passing game. I mean, almost kind of looking Alvin Kamara-esque, but also a much better runner. So I think those should be the 2 top guys, but this is my opinion.
Yeah, Harris I'm not seeing much love for Harris. It's interesting you brought it up because it's a great point. I mean, he's a focal point of that offense. I would argue, I mean, up until this past game where he just ran rampant, he wasn't getting because Big Ben, all he could do was give it to him. People were just stacking the box. They realized, hey, Harris is the guy here. I think it's a tight race. You could tell me Mac Jones. You could tell me Jamar Chase. I think those are the 2 right now. I think Jones was the favorite, for the last couple of weeks until Chase just had this incredible game, might have stolen some votes, slipped into minus territory on some people's books. But, I would go with Jamar Chase. He's the guy that grabs the attention. He's the guy that's trending on Twitter when he goes off. Much respect to Mac Jones and what he's done this year in his rookie year. He looks far and away, arguably probably the best guy out there in his class, and he was the last guy drafted. But I think we haven't seen a guy like Jamar Chase since, I guess maybe Justin Jefferson. But he is we've had some great receivers in the last 2 years, and I think Chase deserves it. I mean, he's done incredible.
Yeah, and I mean they're sitting there in the playoffs, and he's got to be the major part of it. Him and
same
Joe
with
Burrow,
Mac Jones, I guess.
You could argue that the defense is really the reason that they can.
Where were they last year then? I mean, you thought you could plug a guy like Cam Newton in there and Belichick would do his thing. That's not how it went. And now Belichick's at least got a guy that he could switch it up a little bit, even though he is running more things. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the more team for the Patriots. That's just how it is. And I'm with you. I think we're on the same page here with Chase and whatnot.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love Mac Jones, and I said it at the beginning of the year. I think he's the best quarterback out of this class. He just fits the best. So we'll see. I'm hoping offensive rookie of the year doesn't just turn into offensive quarterback like the MVP does. So we'll see how that plays out. But a lot of interesting things. It's going to be a crazy last week of football. One game will end, and immediately everybody will be talking, okay, now this and this needs to happen for so-and-so to move here. And then this team.
Yeah. All of our analysis could be just a moot point if some crazy shit happens this weekend.
And it could. So it's the NFL, and we've had since the second half of the season, we've had crazy shit happen at least once a week. So
yeah,
could see some great stuff. But that is it for the Lucky Bets podcast today.
I got one last question for you.
ahead.
Do you have a lean on who I should pick for my survivor? So like it's come down to the last three. This is where you eliminate teams once you pick them. So my options are basically everyone could go Tennessee. It's a little too public. So the last three people, we all have the option to go Tennessee. Could go New Orleans, but I hate the Saints and I don't want to do it against my Falcons. I think right now I'm going Cowboys. But if I want to get cute and creative, I'm the only one that could pick the Vikings. Say two people pick the Cowboys somehow lose to the Eagles. Do the Vikings get it done, or does Zimmer crap himself and in what could be his final last game? But Kirk Cousins is back.
I'm for myself, I'm betting on the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the week they get it done, but what scares me is it's against the Bears, who
Division
you never
game.
know what the hell the Bears are going to do. Their defense normally goes out and plays really well. How's their offense going to perform? Is it going to keep up with, Minnesota's offense? And I would go the Cowboys.
I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
But the Vikings would be the more interesting play, the more edge of your seat play.
Yeah, that'd be a true sweat for sure.
For sure.
We'll see. I'll keep you posted.
Sounds good. So we want to thank Dylan for joining the show again today. Follow him everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, wherever the hell you listen to things.
Of course.
And we'll see you next week with the playoffs. So
yes.
Have a good day, guys.